What's up, everybody? I'm doing the last of the hollowing on sister number 3. So we had, in the previous videos, I cut her down right there. Could have cleaned up that part better. You notice things as you start talking, and you attend to them. That's just what happens. So anyway, I had cut her right through that line. Hollowed out both areas, both of the halves that were created, and put it right back together. And because it was cut right down here, I hollowed into right about where her calves start. So I feel like there's some clay I want to take out of there. So her arms I'm going to leave because I know I'm going to be shaping on those as I go along. And I need that extra clay because, again, if you're keeping the walls a certain thickness and then you start taking away from it and scraping away and you've hollowed, you're more liable to punch a hole in. So these are thin enough that they're going to dry the way they dry, and they're pretty much going to dry uniformly. So I'm not concerned about them at all. She's got Herman Munster feet going on, and I don't know what I'm going to do about those. I guess I'll just keep scraping away until I get something that looks a little less clubfoot-ish. I'll probably end up scraping a lot of this part out to give her, not an arch because that's on the outside, but I'll probably do something where it looks like she's resting on her heels, but her foot is more lifted up, so I'll probably cut away right there and cut up into here. But we'll deal with all that later. Right now, we're going to go ahead and hollow right about here on this knee part. And remember, the wire tool, which is this, hopefully you can see it. That's the wire tool. And it has these 2 wooden holders on the end. And I use those just to make sure I've got it, positioned so that it's pretty even. So I'm going to drop this right back behind her knees. Straighten it out a little to see where I'm going with it. And I'm going to pull somewhat down and then forward, because I don't want to go through to her arms. And, you've got to turn it around and look at what you're doing, because I've sliced through her calf meat, which I didn't really mean to do, but it's fine. I'm just going to pull down and forward on this and create a piece that I can take away. And this is what's left. And the next deal is that I go ahead, pick up my needle tool so that I can mark out the hollowing area. And by now, you know the thickness, about the width of your pinky nail. So I've just marked that off. And now I'm going to go in with this tool and hollow, because remember when we split it earlier, some of this part got hollowed out. I'm going to just do this. Some of this neck got hollowed out. Some of that chin area got hollowed out. A little bit of the arms on both halves got hollowed out. And I'm trying to remember, some of this leg part got hollowed out. So we'll probably punch through to some areas where the hollowing happened. That's fine. And this part, as you know, doesn't require any real explanation. You just get to watch. I'm going to go ahead and hit this piece with water just to make sure that clay is nice and pliable when I'm ready. And it's sitting there with the water sitting on top, but it's going to soak into the clay. So again, this part you don't need to watch. If I need to speak for any reason, I will. But as it stands, I hush now. And if you can, well, you can't see, but what happened is I started hollowing and I actually pushed through to where I hollowed out previously, and that's fine. More area for the air to circulate through. I'm going to pop some holes into this at some point, and that's to allow the air an escape route to hopefully minimize any chance of explosion in the kiln, breakage, cracking, all of that. So like I said, went into a hollowed out area. I could probably stick that almost straight down, and that's perfect. So once again, I hush now. That was a bad move. I poked a hole through to the other side. I'm going to have to replace that clay. So I have to spray in there. I'm going to replace the clay from the outside first and then rebuild it back up on the inside. So now I need to really spray these pieces and make sure they're good and moist, because I'm going to be working with them to correct the mistake that I just made. And it definitely was a mistake. I just really didn't test enough first to see and determine what areas, how deeply I had gone, basically. So I can't wait for that to close up. Not to close up, I'm sorry. I can't wait for that to moisturize up. So I just took some clay out of the bag that's already in exactly the condition I need it to be. I'm pressing it onto the back of the spoon tool so I can get in there and pop that piece right back in. So I'm mending the hole that I created from the outside first, and then I will rebuild it on the inside. I never used this end of the tool, but it came in handy right now. I never used this end. But this requires a little more finessing than I usually do. I think I'm going to try to work with this one, which is not a comfortable one for me. I don't know why, but I think it's going to work perfectly here. And did. So you sometimes discover tools that are in your arsenal only at points of desperation, when you're trying to figure out how you can get in and work something the way that you need to work it. I knew from looking at it that that was the tool for that particular section. And you switch tools a lot based on what your needs are. All right. I'm failing miserably right now because I didn't close that hole up at all. I thought that it was going to be best to go from the outside, and I was wrong. I need to patch from the inside, but I need to put a barrier there so I don't just push clay through the hole and it ends up coming out the other side. So I'm going to use this tool to do it, same one. I'm going to move sister number 1 and sister number 2 out the way because they are in my way. All right, so I just scooched her over some. So I'm able to see the hole on the outside, and I'm going to place this tool up against it. Yeah, I think this is the one to use. Once I see that the tool has covered that space, I'll just keep it pressed up against there so that it will not come out of the back. All right, I think I've got it in place. Taking the smaller sort of spoon tool, and I'm just going to fill in that area while holding this tool tightly up against the back so that it doesn't come out. So I don't push the clay into the hole and just push it to the outside of the other hole. All right, I just removed it. So I've sealed up that hole, and I'm just going to smooth it out from the outside using the tool that looks like a pencil. All right, and that's how quickly you can correct your mistakes. No need to panic. Just surmise the solution, basically. And that's just going to be based on revisiting what you did previously and the best approach. So we're going to try this again with the hush now. I hush now. I'm going to take this tool or my needle tool, I haven't decided yet, to poke a hole straight through from here to up in here, because that's a very inconspicuous spot where I can allow air to escape. So I'm just going to poke a few holes. That wasn't the most strategic place because I'll probably accidentally end up closing that right back up. That's fine. I'll remake it and I'll decide on where to put the air holes when I'm closer to completion than I am right now. I'm just working the water into this clay so that I can keep it around for any fill-ins. This part of the hollowing I'm satisfied with. It's done. All right, the hollowing is done for sister number 3. I'm going to let her sit out. I spritzed her with water just a little bit, but I'm really going to let her sit out and get leather hard for, I don't know, about 20 minutes or so. And the next video, or the next time you see sister number 3, she'll be getting smoothed out, okay? So, as always, I thank you for watching. I appreciate you hanging with me up to this point to see how I create my sculptures, and particularly how this series, 3 Sisters, 1 Fro, is building into something really, really special. And I will catch you on the flip side. Peace.